Hey folks, welcome to the Garden Canvas. Today we're going to be planting 3 proven winners plants that I'm very excited about. The first one is Baptisia vanilla cream. Baptisia, if you're not familiar with Baptisia is a native to North America. It is an extremely versatile plant. It's extremely drought tolerant, very tolerant of wet soils as well. So this plant can survive in a lot of environments. It blooms in the spring. There's a lot of different colors of Baptisia available. The most common color you'll see is blue or a light lavender color, a bluish lavender color. This is called vanilla cream, and I'm really excited to put this in the ground. I've got a perfect spot for it that will get wet a lot of times in the wintertime. It's an area that's kind of varying. In the wintertime it can be very wet and soggy because it's more of a clay-based soil, but in the summertime it can get very dry and very compacted. But this plant will survive that very, very easily. And then the second plant is Royal Raspberry Agastache. I've got 2 of these I'm going to be placing in my garden. But this is also a native. Agastache is also a native to North America. But what makes this very unique is it has this kind of blue, gray, purple foliage. And you can see that against the Baptisia just to kind of compare the greens. It's a very unique plant, and it's going to bloom with long, pink, almost salvia-like blooms. And it'll bloom from early summer all the way into the fall in my zone 8. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the ground now in their proper places, and let's go ahead and get started.
So this is the bed that I'll be doing this in. This is a 4-foot wide bed. It's not super deep, so it can be a bit of a challenge. This is a J.C. Raulston introduction. It's Raulston's hardy Viburnum. It's Viburnum obavatum, and this is a compact dwarf variety of Viburnum obavatum. I've got, this is Amsonia, and it's actually about to bloom. I just moved this over this past weekend, and I have this Rose Creek Abelia here. This is a Asclepias incarnata, which is swamp milkweed. This is the milkmaid milkweed, which is a white version. This is a lemon lime Nandina from Southern Living. And I think this will contrast really well with the color of the Agastache, especially when the Agastache is blooming. So the Agastache are going to go here, about 24 inches apart roughly, and the Abelia will grow to about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. One of the advantages to Baptisia, particularly certain Baptisia varieties, is they tend to have legs at the bottom. So the foliage appears higher up on the plant, about halfway up. And that allows you to do some underplanting around the bottom of the plant. And so that's one of the reasons I think it'll work out really well here, because we'll have beautiful foliage and flowers up higher, and then underneath we can layer it. So even though this is a bit of a narrow bed, having that ability to layer right up underneath the Baptisia will give some depth that otherwise would be kind of difficult to do in this narrow of a bed.
Now, one of the things about Baptisia that you do need to know, they are a very, very deep-rooting plant. Very similar to a panicum switchgrass. So wherever you decide to put it, you probably need to be set on that. It's not saying they can't be transplanted. They can be transplanted. Very unusually, this plant is best transplanted in midsummer, mid to late summer, July, August, not spring. But you better come ready to work, because it is a very hard plant to transplant, just because trying to get it out of the ground is difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and brush off some of the excess dirt off of the roots and try to tease those roots out a little bit. And this is just something I like to do, just to kind of expose the roots to the native soil. But you can see how coarse those roots are, even on a plant this small. Make sure we keep that root ball above grade. Backfill. Native soil is the best soil to put back in the hole. I don't care what you read in conventional wisdom, buying soil amendments, all kinds of things like that. That's not what's best for your plant. Put back the native soil. Let your plant get used to what it's going to be growing in all around it. You can always compost and mulch the top. All right, so let's go ahead and get some water and we'll water this thing in. I'm gonna water that in and let the soil settle around the root ball. Then I'll come back in and backfill some more. Now, Agastache does not like to be in wet soil. So I'm gonna be planting this just a little above grade, and I'll fill in around it. This soil's pretty dry, so I'm gonna have to water it in well. I wanna make sure this plant can drain well and doesn't have wet feet. Agastache can be planted in really poor soil, but nevertheless, that first year it does need to be watered as it establishes itself. Hey, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. We just hit the 4,000 subscriber mark, and I want to take a minute to thank you, those who watch our channel, and I really appreciate it. Those of you who have not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. We'll see you in the next video.